Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going to be covering another whisky, scratching off the old map behind me. If you don't know what this is going on about, this is a scratch map, and when I cover a whisky from a country on this map, I'll scratch it off and reveal the colour underneath. Hopefully one day I'll capture every whisky producing country in the world, and maybe by the time I get to that point every country will be producing something. But today we're going to be covering a Swedish whisky. Some would say the Swedish whisky. In fact, I think if you don't have this particular bottling, it might be sold to you in your region as the Swedish whisky. This is from the Mackmyra Distillery, Mackmyra. Swedish distillery, which is nice sitting in the middle here. It's right near a town called Gävle. This particular bottling is the Brukswhisky, which, if the rep is to be believed, is basically Brooks is a kind of generic term for like an everyday item. So you could say like a Brooks pen or a Brooks pad or something like that. This is the Brooks whisky, your everyday whisky. Fairly cheap. In the UK, it's a kind of about £40. So I got this a little bit cheaper because a friend of mine coming back from Sweden got me the bottle. I paid him back for that. But Mackmyra himself, they're a very interesting kind of distillery. It was the brainchild of kind of 8 engineers, if you like, technology people, and they all met together in a ski lodge for a holiday, and they randomly all bought a bottle of whiskey with them for the host. That got them all talking about how it was made, how there was no Swedish whiskey, why shouldn't they be the ones to make Swedish whiskey? This was back in 1998, and it took them a little while to get started, to really get going. But by 2006, they had their first ever distilled and matured product that sold out within 20 minutes. Nowadays, they've kind of got themselves into a routine of it all. They've actually got 2 distilleries now. The first one, which was in this Mackmyra place, that is the Myra part is actually a direct translation for Maya, so it's kind of like a wetland, boggy kind of thing. But they built that distillery, and then fairly recently, something like 2011, they unveiled a new distillery, which they've called the Gravity Distillery. It's a really beautiful distillery. It's kind of like a modern, contemporary, tall building. And the idea behind this place is that the processes all start from the top, work their way down, and they use gravity itself to literally power the place. So they say, in comparison to the original distillery, it saves like 43% on their energy bill. It's kind of a nice little thing, you know. You go to a distillery, most things are kind of ground level, it's all in one place. It's been crammed into a little listed building or something like that. This is a purpose-built place. All the offices are on the bottom floors, all the production's on the top floors, and it goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And they just turn a tap on and let gravity do the work rather than employing any pumps or anything like that. Very clever indeed. They've got several expressions out at the moment. This is just their kind of first core base range entry level. There's a couple of others which I'll cover soon. I've got a couple of other drams to try. But let's stop talking about the distillery and start talking about this particular whisky itself. The Brooks whisky. 41.4%. Bit of a strange number, but it shows some good intent, I think. Now on the nose, it does smell, I don't want to say young, it smells fairly young. It's got that kind of, that hay, malty flavours. But there's so much going on with it. It's kind of sweet. It's got kind of pears, that kind of Speyside-y kind of smell. Vanillas. They use some interesting barrels. They use first fill bourbon barrels, sherry barrels, like sherry barrels, but they also use Swedish oak. And I'm not sure if they included any in this one, but sometimes they do this kind of special barrel where they take apart some ex-bourbon and they make some Swedish oak ones, and they alternate the staves as it goes around. It's a very nice, very interesting way of doing things, and it shows what can be made when you're not tied to the rules and regulations. It's a fantastic nose, really. This bottling's been available since about 2010. So it's been a while. I mean, you might not have even heard of this if you're in America or whatever, but you should be able to get hold of it by now, I think. Let's go on to the palate. Yeah, bags of that. kind of those pears and those vanillas. A little bit oaky, not too much, not very woody, but it's got very spice forward, kind of white pepper, black pepper mixed together, that kind of thing. It's really spicy, really nice mouthfeel to it. And the finish, although the whiskey's gone, it leaves behind this tingling sensation. So the finish isn't really there, but there's still a sensation of it, which is very nice. One thing that really impressed me about Mackmyra, I did a vertical tasting at my local whiskey club, and we went right through from this all the way up to some special releases, but they all seem to have this characteristic flavour, this kind of almost Speyside-y apples, pears, with this distinctive spice extra on top of it, and it was like the same flavour all the way through, but with a slightly different inflection on it depending on what they did. For instance, the next one I'll try on the channel, not sure when, is the svenska, which is literally the Swedish smoke, and it's a peatier version of this. Maybe, I think. I'm not sure. By the time I do that video, I'll know. But they do lots of very interesting things, and they're definitely worth checking out. Very grateful for my friend for picking that up for me in Sweden, where it's a little bit cheaper. Thanks for watching this video on Mackmyra. I hope you go and check them out. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. I'll be ticking off a few more Europeans, got some bourbons and obviously more Scotch coming up. Don't forget to check out more videos just like this, new videos every Monday and Thursday. Thanks for watching.